Welcome to the debut episode of Beatin' and Bangin'. I'm your host, Kyle Dalton. I'm a senior NASCAR writer at sportscasting.com. This channel will be similar to what I write about, and each week I'll talk about those stories that everyone else is discussing, but I'll try and find a unique angle and hopefully open your eyes to a different perspective maybe you didn't know or think about. And of course, I'll talk about those hidden gems. You know, those stories that no one else has covered, like breaking news. Which, stay tuned, there's an interesting piece of breaking news later in this video. So enough about me and the channel. Let's get into some of the interesting news items that happened over the last few days, starting over the weekend at Dover and the Monster Mile. This first bit of news happened on Saturday, when Chase Elliott met with reporters and was asked his thoughts on the previous week's violent crash between his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Kyle Larson and Ryan Preece at Talladega. The 2020 Cup Series champion didn't sugarcoat what was on his mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not great, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you look at that thing. I haven't seen it in person. We tested Loudon this week. I wasn't at the shop on Monday, but from what I've heard and the pictures that I've seen, certainly a bit concerning on a multitude of levels. So I'm disappointed in that. Personally, last year it was like, well, we're not, the softer hits were a problem, but that's in preparation for a bigger hit being covered. And from the data that I heard, he was only doing 130. So what happens if he's doing 180 or 160? So yeah, I definitely think that's concerning.
NASCAR officials won't like hearing what the most popular driver had to say, but they know it's the painful truth. They've seen Preece's terrifying in-car camera and the badly mangled number 5 car, and everyone else has too. They've had almost 2 weeks to review both cars at the R&D Center. They also interviewed both drivers. Rear impacts defined the first year of the next-gen car. Remember Kurt Busch and Alex Bowman? That accident at Talladega could very well be a defining moment for NASCAR in addressing the front of the cars for their tank-like qualities as evidenced by the damage to Larson's car. Speaking of Larson, he was not happy in Monday's race, and justifiably so, when he got caught up in a crash with Brendan Poole after Ross Chastain had got into the rear of the number 15 Rick Ware racing car. The normally quiet Larson called Chastain a blinking idiot over the team radio. A few minutes later, Fox caught up with Poole, who admitted surprise about what had happened with Chastain and suggested someone needed to whip the driver's butt. After the race, SiriusXM NASCAR radio reporter Claire B. Lane caught up with the Trackhouse driver and asked him about those comments, and also asked what Alex Bowman had to say in tweeting about the incident. Chastain offered an interesting response.
No comment.
Do you feel like...
I'm sorry to Brennan, but no comment on the rest.
Listen, Chastain has his fans. I get it. He even has some who want to compare him to the Intimidator. That seems a bit much, but okay. But just like Denny Hamlin reckoned J.J. Yaley a few weeks ago, this latest incident is bad, no matter how you slice it. And based on the watermelon farmer's track record, this won't be the last time he's talked about this season. Let me know in the comments section what you think about Chastain's latest incident. Does he remind you of the Intimidator? Do you think he made a mistake, or was it deliberate and he got impatient with the number 15 and decided to dump him? Our next topic comes to us from social media, and an interesting tweet from the 2311 Racing Twitter account that got the attention of Kurt Busch fans over the weekend. The organization shared a tweet welcoming Bryce Young to Charlotte after the Panthers selected the Alabama quarterback with the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. It was announced earlier in the day that he had signed a multi-year deal with the Jordan brand. Welcome to the Queen City and Jumpman 23 family, Bryce Young, the Twitter account said. Looking forward to you rooting for the Jumpman on the track soon. Notice what's on the top of the front windshield? Kurt Busch's name. One fan summed it up best that either Kurt's coming back or the social media team messed up, and he's hoping for option one, just like the rest of us. The last word on Busch was he had been running go-karts just for fun and was still being evaluated by medical professionals regularly, and unfortunately hadn't been cleared to return to action. And finally, that breaking news story we mentioned at the beginning. It happened on Monday during an interview in the post-race coverage on Sirius XM NASCAR radio, once again with Claire B. Lang. She interviewed Martin Truex after his first win in 54 races and asked him all the right questions, including talking about his brother Ryan winning his first Xfinity Series race on Saturday. That's when Big Bro made some interesting remarks.
It would be so awesome one day if when I retire I could get him in this car of mine, you know. But for now we need to get some sponsors and we need to get him in that 19 Xfinity car more often and get him full time and get him a championship there.
When you are ready to retire, would you lobby for that? Would you say, hey, Coach? Because I know he talked to Coach in Victory Lane and he said, hey, you know, we got to be able to do this more.
Well, you know, we got to take it one step at a time. We need to get him full time in Xfinity, and you know, with the right team and the right guys like he's got now that he's working with, you know, he's a championship contender right from day one. You know, so we just need to find a way to get that deal put together for next year, and everybody's working hard on it. And you know, obviously, that win's got to do a lot. I hope it does enough. You know, because I'm his biggest fan, and I know he can get it done.
Did you hear it? Truex said, get that deal put together for next year, and mentioned how many people are working on it. That would suggest if Truex had any real plans for his brother replacing him in the number 19 Cup car, that it would have to wait until at least the 2025 season. That's big news. If you'll remember, Martin talked about retiring last year. In June, he confirmed he would be returning for 2023. Reporters haven't asked the 42-year-old driver that question yet this year, but it's around the time those type of questions started popping up last year. Now it doesn't seem necessary because Truex plans on staying around for at least another year, according to his remarks, with the hopes that when he does step away from the car, Ryan can step in. It also must be mentioned that his win at Dover should only solidify his position of returning in 2024, because it showed that he's still got that burning desire to win, and more importantly, the ability to make it happen. Let us know what you think about Truex. Would you like to see Ryan come in and fill the number 19 Cup car seat whenever Martin decides to retire? All right, that's it, guys. Our first episode is officially in the books. I really appreciate you checking it out and giving us a look. Thanks again for your time. If you want to read more stories like this video, check out my articles on sportscasting.com. I'll include a link in the description. Hope to see you guys again in the next video, and hope you have a great rest of your day.